Welcome to Great Talk and Entertainment. I'm your host, KJ, and this is the YouTube channel where I review movies and TV shows from all your favorite superheroes, including Marvel Comics, DC Comics, and much more. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Great Talk and Entertainment official channel. Now let's go, baby. Welcome back to the YouTube channel, everyone. I'm your host, KJ, and this is my spoiler review for the new Star Wars series on Disney Plus, Andor Season 2. This will be Episode 4 spoiler review, so if you have not seen Season 2 or Season 1 of Star Wars Andor, please pause this, give me a thumbs up on this, hit the thumbs up button. That would help this YouTube channel grow, and I would truly appreciate it. Come back and let me know what you think about Star Wars Andor in the comments below. So again, this is a spoiler review. Y'all been warned. Now, let's get into it. This episode starts off with the words, "On 1 year later in BBY3, Binks wakes up in the middle of the night, ready to shoot and ready to act, and she's actually dreaming, like she's sleepwalking. As we see, like, from what happened to her in Season 1 was really traumatizing for her. And throughout this episode and 5 and 6, you'll see it more of it, but she's really having really troubles to sleep because she has the same nightmare over and over again. But luckily, Cassin's there, and of course they have that romantic moment, and they both talk about how much they're stressed out, how much this whole thing they're doing is very important to them. And then we go to Gorman. It's a trade route, and it seems Skrill is being spied, which is very interesting because it throughout this whole season in episodes throughout 5 and 6, he seems like he's the one who's willing to turn on the Empire, but he's also shown that he hopes to be rewarded by the Empire, as his wife Deidre is on the committee of this councils of generals in the Imperial Department. And this guy seems very, I don't know, confused. He seems very delusional. He seems like he doesn't know who to really trust. And I don't think he understands what he's getting himself into. But I also believe that he's getting played. And maybe that's would be the moment that he turns on the Empire. If he's not, I'm not sure. I'm just guessing. I feel like Deidre did mention that she's going to trick her own husband, but I believe it's either she didn't mean to do it, like she had no choice, or she's that cold-hearted. So it depends. To me it's gonna be more shocking where Deidre's his wife, that's his wife, Skrill's wife, is where's her heart at in this? And that's going to be the one most interesting, shocking moment to me, whether we're going to be excited for it or sad for it, because I see they're just foreshadowing this guy, this particular character. He's going to be heartbroken, or everything he's doing is the right thing in his mind. So it may work out for him. Who knows? But that's what they're showing, and that's why there's so much stress going on, because he's being spied on, like I said, and he notices it too. That's why he takes a string of floss, ties it by the door, and so he's very paranoid, and he should be, because the Empire is now more under attack. And we see him have a video call, and it's tapped, so we hear a group of people of Gormans who are just tapping in, listening on conversations. They actually work. One works real close to him in the same office. So everything is bugged and tapped, and, it's going to be nuts. And of course, this group decides to use him and they believe they're going to help him. Like I said, he could be the key point to take him down. But again, I also believe that he's going to feed them false information and trick them in this stuff, because I think that he wants to be part of the big plan of the big evil empire, which is pretty natural in this Star Wars universe. And it's weird. Like, I was like, why do they speak Russian? But I guess somebody's got to speak Russian in Star Wars, and I guess it should be them. And again, like I say, he's the key point. His phone's getting tapped, and he walks by a protest group that's against the Empire, and we see a cell merchant give Skrill a free spider, which is just them. Because what's interesting is they're putting on a show or a performance of fake conversations, fake personalities, fake merchandises, fake coffee talks, dates, whatever. And both sides are doing this too as well. The Empire and these rebel groups. But as they did that, the spider had an information of where he needed to meet, which is just a city hall. And to me, it looked like he enjoyed it. I think he believes in it, or he believes he has hope. And then Binks asks Cassian about the soldier from season 1, and she wants to know more about it because she feels really guilty. And that's the theme that we see through 5 and 6 is Binks is guilty. She feels terrible. Why Cassian and Luthen and others, they know that stuff like this comes with it. Like, there's no other way to avoid it, and this is something you're just going to have to live with. And sometimes, I feel like they got to take some people out, It's either them or them to get got. And that's how they're mind. But she just can't mentally get through that, and I think that makes it difficult for her. She's not sure if she thinks this is worth it at the end, because this is going to be tough to take down the Empire and to start this war. And even Skrill is telling his wife Deidre, like, he's got him. He's not sure if this is the correct one. They know there's maybe 2 different ones, but who's more of a bigger threat? Are they both working together? But he's not sure, but she's not really sure too, but she's willing to go along with it, and she agrees with the idea of it. So that's pretty interesting. And of course, they're doing this underneath other consoles, where Deidre is making up stories or letting a story run wild where she seems like she's hogging all the glory. She's very obsessed with this, and she's having other people think that's why she's been transferred. They think she's unloose, uncanon, and she's egotistic. And this is just a cover-up, just to figure out, because one of the guys is actually a spy for the Gormans, or not the Gormans, but for Luthen, and all of that group, and they're trying to get information. So this is a thing where, they're trying to figure out who's snitching, who's the spies, and we gotta find them out of the weeds, and that's the idea of what they're trying to do with this. And so they're making these made up stories and made up scenarios, like Deidre and her husband broke up, and that's why he went over to Gorman, while he's just undercover trying to find out who are these spies, who are these groups, who's the leader. And they may think it's the Gormans, but it's really with Cassian and Luthen and Binks and Will and others. Like, they're the real people who's trying to take down the Empire. and they're trying to convince people to do it their way and their vision of how they want to take down the evil empire. And that's the idea of what's going on. Even though they've been to, like, Skyrill went to the board meeting and to see this group and the Gorman, and he didn't do nothing. And Casson was gonna go meet the Gormans because that's what Lutheran wants, but he hesitates because Binks can't go with him, and he wants her to go with her. He thinks she's ready. She thinks she believes she can go back on the field, but there's a lot going on. And I love I've been loving the dramatic to this whole season 2 so far. It's the little things like that they're fighting for their lives, but it shows like they're really the underdogs in this, and any wrong move, they're all in trouble. They're all, the stormtroopers will be coming to arrest them and more. Like, this is a big thing, and at the end they want to start the war at this episode. Like, I liked it. I like the plot of this for episode 4. I like where it's going, and again, I like the emotion to it. We're seeing these characters now have a lot of doubt on both sides, and you don't know who's telling what truth at times, and it's a lot to follow because you're listening to like the actual conversation and then the fake conversation, and it's a lot of work. It's a lot of pay attention to the show moments, but I really liked where it's going. It can't always this always keeps me on the edge of my seat, but I really love where they're going with it again because of the dramatic. I like the Gordman. Like, they're like the people who this is their home and they want their home back. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to leave it. They want to expose to them politically because they think this is the way, but they don't realize how much danger they are in if they do that. Like, they don't have enough people to fight stormtroopers, or just 3 or 4 or 5 alone. And with like Skrill and Deidre, they're an odd couple, marriage couple, but I think they both want 2 different things, but they're willing to they want the same thing, but they both want to go 2 different ways to get the thing. Or, and this is like a glory thing. Like, I'm seeing more, I feel like Deidre I think she's more in for herself, and she's willing to put her husband under the bus, but I could be wrong on that. But they just don't show a lot of passion to each other. They seem very bland, but that's just them being soldiers and careful of who sees who, and because they know they're being spied on. And with Casson, I think he's realizing that maybe Luthen and the Gormans are coming at this the wrong way, and they're not really fully planned or prepared, and I think it's annoying him. And that's what I noticed out of Casson in this episode. Like, he's getting annoyed with everybody else who's a part of this, and he's noticing like these flaws, these unprofessional decisions to make a move like that, and I think it's annoying him. And I think in the next episode that things are going to have to change for the bit of it, because he sees it, and of course this is leading up to Rogue One, but I think he sees the flaws, but he's really showing more leadership in this. So again, this one was a great episode. If I had to give this a 1 out of 10, I'm going to give this one an 8. Really good episode. And again, sometimes this one wasn't really that boring. I'll give it that. It wasn't that. The dialogue wasn't too dry, too boring. This one was more interesting because you were wonder what's going to happen, what they're going to say, what they're going to do. type feel, and this one really executed it better. The ending was great to this. A really good cliffhanger. Now we're seeing like different groups of people who want to destroy the empire. So the empire has made a lot of foes, and I think they're eventually are going to team up. I know they're all kind of working for each other. They all have like some type of agreement, but I think at the end they're going to realize like we really need to stick together if we're going to succeed this. And that's the point of that. I get like they're going to have to be a little crazy about it. Some's got to be political about it, and some's got to be very spyish. And that's the only way you're going to take them down. Because, again, some of these guys are not Jedis or anything like that. So, really good. So, I definitely giving it 1 out of 10. I'm giving it an 8. So, that's my review, y'all. Thank you so much. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Great Talk and Entertainment official channel. Subscribe. Hit that notification button so you always be updated with all my latest content. Thank you guys, and peace out.